to us today. We are so honored and blessed to be here with Governor Bevin. I know that this is your will for this to have happened today. May you speak through us all. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Okay, here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christian Allen, and this is Serving Those.
I'm PJ Schrantz, and we're here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky with Governor Matt Bevin. Let's roll.
Okay, Mr. Bevin, thank you for joining us today. Now, surprisingly, you are the third Republican-elected governor of Kentucky since World War II. Tell me, what does that mean to you?
I'm grateful to the people of Kentucky. We don't do this often, as you have indicated. And in fact, I think I'm only the fourth in the last 100 years. So Kentucky is a pretty heavily Democrat registered state. But we're a generally conservative people. We're people with good core values, and you're starting to see people separate their values from their party for the first time in 100 years, for the most part. And so I'm grateful to the people for having entrusted me with this opportunity. My job is to make sure that they feel good about the trust that they placed in me 15, 16 months ago.
Absolutely. Now, I understand you attended Washington and Lee University in Virginia on an ROTC scholarship. Then upon graduation, you became a U.S. Army officer. Had you always planned to run for public office?
I had never planned to run for public office. In fact, when I was at Washington and Lee University, I didn't even take a single political science course in my life. I never studied this. I never assumed that this is what I was going to do. I've always loved America. I've been blessed to live the American dream. The American dream's a real thing, and you all sitting around this table know it. It's not just something people talk about or write about in books. It's not something that once was. It's alive and well. I grew up very well below the poverty level, but I've been blessed with opportunity, had a chance to go to a great school. I wanted to go into the military because I wanted to serve this nation, and I was blessed with a decent mind. I had other scholarship opportunities, but I wanted to go through the military route because I truly believed and have found it to be true that serving in the military, you never regret having served in the military.
No question.
And I believed that even when I was a young guy, and I'm glad now that I did it. I served active duty for 4 years, got out as an 03, but I'd do it all again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you. Now, in 2011, you became the 6th generation president of Bevin Bros, which for our viewers who don't know is a bell manufacturing company. I understand that you make all the bells that the Salvation Army uses. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Bevin Brothers is a company that was started by my great-great-great-grandfather, great-grandfather, in 1832. So, and I took it over as a labor of love. I'll be honest, I've never made a dime off this. I've put money into it, but I got 21 employees who live their own version of the American dream, who feed their families, who raise their families, put their kids through school. And it's a lot of tradition, a lot of history. The bell that gave Clarence his wings and It's a Wonderful Life was made in this company. The first bicycle bell ever invented was made in this company. When Joe Louis became heavyweight champ of the world, it was a Bevin bell at ringside. The USS Maine that got sunk in Havana Harbor, remember the Maine? That ship's bell was made in this factory. So a lot of history. I took it over because I wanted to see the tradition continue. I've never actually lived there. I've had to do it remotely. But I'm grateful for that. It's probably the least impactful economic thing I've ever done in my life as an adult, but it's the one that everybody loves because it has so much history that's tied to it.
Well, next Christmas season, when you pass a store and the Salvation Army's there and you hear that bell, think of the great Governor Matt Bevin.
That's a Bevin. I'm going to tell you a quick digress for one quick second. The handles on those bells, you think about the American dream. There's a guy named Hadzika Muminjovic. Hadzika is a guy who came here as a first-generation American. He fled for his life. He came here as a political refugee. And anybody who has rung a bell in the last 15 years for the Salvation Army, chances are you put your hand on the very same handle as Hadzika, who put almost every single handle on for the last 15 years. This is the only job he's ever had in America.
Wow.
And he came here with 3 children, none of whom spoke a word of English. His oldest daughter at the time she came here was 11 years old and didn't speak a word of English, and she's now a 5th grade school teacher teaching 11-year-olds how to speak and write English in America. I mean, that's the power of America. This is why everything we're talking about matters. I mean, that is the American dream.
It is the American dream.
Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So on Fox and Friends the other day, I assume, do you watch a little bit of Fox?
From time to time.
Yeah? Okay. Well, VA Secretary Dr. David Shulkin expressed how adamant he was on draining the swamp within the VA employment pool. How confident are you in Dr. Shulkin's agenda to fix veterans' issues?
The agenda I'm highly confident in. I don't know him personally, but I believe he's sincere, and I wish him all the best, and I would do anything in my power to help him succeed. Because frankly, the system is broken. It's truly broken. And we are failing the men and women who have given everything, who've given their versions of lives, fortunes, and sacred honor. Some of them have given everything. Some of them have given most of it, which is why they're now using these facilities. And I'll tell you, if we don't get it right, shame on us.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
I have to interject. I want to transition to that lapel pin that you have on, Governor. And does that have anything to do with draining the swamp?
I tell you what, it does. I mean, this
Oh my gosh.
this pin is about cutting red tape. And I wear this, and everyone in my administration wears this, and I've given them to elected officials all over the country, all over the world. And I have pictures of people wearing them. The other day, another governor was wearing one during one of his press conferences. One of our U.S. senators was wearing one recently on Face the Nation. All these different...
If we can get
I would
those,
love
I
to
would
wear one.
I'm going to get you one.
Future
I will get you one. I will get you one before we leave. Here's the important thing. I've committed to cutting 30% of all the red tape in Kentucky in the next 3 years. And I'll tell you, back to your question with the VA, we've got to cut the red tape, cut the bureaucracy. And so the Secretary Shulkin, I'm confident that he can get this done. But it will take command-level leadership. It'll take a sense of purpose and urgency in a taking a no prisoners kind of an approach, because the sustained bureaucracy, the entrenched bureaucracy, I don't think most of the people at the VA came there thinking, let's do a mediocre job.
Exactly.
But when mediocrity becomes the standard, then everyone lives up to, at best, mediocrity with an occasional example of something other than that. Then you are destining those who are the recipients to failure. And we deserve better. And I frankly think a leaner, meaner, more outsourced VA would be a powerful thing.
I think we're all in agreement with that. I have confidence in Dr. Shulkin, and I don't know him as well. The reason being is Dr. Shulkin was a President Obama appointee. President Trump elevated his status to head the VA. Our president and his administration, believe me, they've given diligence.
Yeah.
This man obviously earned this position. And once they could get around where they can actually fire people that aren't doing their job, leadership takes over, and it all stems back to what you say.
Yeah.
If mediocrity will just bring on more mediocrity.
I truly believe there's no reason that we should be taking on the full slate of things that we have within the VA. We have one of the finest, arguably the finest healthcare system in the world. I would say that it's the finest. I've been in 20-some% of the countries around the world. There's nowhere, if I were critically ill, that I would rather be in a hospital than in the United States of America. I'll tell you that right now. I've been in a couple hospitals in other places. I'm telling you, it's a different experience. It's a different experience. Different experience. Here's what I would say, though. The bottom line is this. Let's find what we are best at in the VA. Let's take care of our men and women like nobody can, from a customer service, from a streamlining, from an implementation of what they need and where it connects to services standpoint, and then outsource the other components.
I agree.
Why reinvent the wheel? Why try to replicate what we already have in the private sector of healthcare when we could use a fraction of the money, frankly, that we're spending per person in the VA complex and get them the best care in the world on the outside? I'm a big believer in outsourcing where it's appropriate to do so.
We're
And
in
I
agreement.
hope Dr. Shulkin sees that as one of his missions. That would be my 2 cents
Well
worth.
stated, Governor, well stated. We're in agreement. We are.
Now, okay, what would you tell all of our millennial viewers out there that are thinking of running for public office one day?
I have a lot of those millennials living in my own home. I'm a father of 9 children. I have five teenage daughters right now in my home.
Goodness gracious.
And it's all good. We're blessed.
Any gray hair? What's
Oh, come on now. It must be the lighting. Trust me, there's plenty there. When I get my hair cut, it's so funny. I've noticed not only is there less and less hair up there to cut, but when I sit there and I look at this, I go to the same barber I've gone to for the last 15 plus years. And every time I get my hair cut, I look down on my lap and it's mostly silver
and you
now.
want to shake it off. Like
I'm like, what is that? I don't know when I got old, but the bottom line is this. Yeah, exactly. That's more high speed, low drag. You've decided to. But bottom line is this: for millennials, for people of any age, You know, the advice that I'd give them if they were thinking about pursuing public office or serving other people is to do exactly that. Serve other people. Put other people first ahead of yourself. And if you can serve other people when there's nothing in it for you, and if you can develop success in certain areas, I would say this, as it relates to politics in particular. I tell young people, especially those studying political science who want to go into politics, don't do that first. Go serve your nation in the military. Go get a job in the private sector. Put capital at risk. Take your own money, make a cost-benefit analysis of where to invest it, and make a powerful decision with your own money before you start worrying about how to spend other people's money.
Absolutely.
And if you can become good at something, then you justify. What would make a guy like me or any of us want to put my trust in someone to represent me in government if I don't think they've ever walked in my shoes even a little bit? So I just encourage people, be a servant, be a leader, be a professional, be a business person first. Do this for a period of time and then look for a way to serve.
Well, I hope they take that to heart. Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, we're going to change gears here. Now, for all viewers, I want you to know, riddle me this, Batman. What does Muhammad Ali, Albert Einstein, Elvis Presley have in common with Ivan Raiklin? You're about to find out.
And I will tell you this, in addition, there's someone else, and this might give you a little bit of a clue. There's a guy named Harlan Sanders, who also shares this designation, and who probably better than anyone else who shares this honorary designation that we're about to talk about, probably took it and ran with it more than anyone in the history of the world. And Harlan Sanders is more famously known to the world as Colonel Sanders, and the only colonel he ever was a Kentucky colonel. And so, Ivan, I now am honored to designate that you too will be a Kentucky colonel. And this comes, you know, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. And the responsibilities are that you do what you've been doing, that you represent the values that this nation was built on, that this Commonwealth was built on, that you represent yourself and conduct yourself with integrity, and that you take this seriously, and that you represent, when you speak of Kentucky, that you remind people of just how awesome it is here. And we want all the good ones to come here and all the bad ones to leave, and in all seriousness. And so it is my honor to designate you a Kentucky colonel.
Phenomenal. So this is, I think, my first time actually stopping in Kentucky, and this is obviously my most memorable moment within Kentucky thus far, and it'll probably be the most memorable for the rest of my life. So I really appreciate this.
You are very welcome.
I'm humbled, and I'm humbled that you're here with us.
Thank you, Governor.
Very welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure.
Now,
And a fellow vet.
if we can,
There's a lot in common.
I'm going to, we want our national audience to get a better feel for who Governor Matt Bevin is. Governor Bevin is a really good man. I've given a lot of diligence. I've done my research. And this part, I want the country to know Governor Bevin. I don't know if he has intentions of running for president one day, but if he does, I got a feeling that this is going to be something you're going to want to know. Some things, besides being an Army captain, Governor Bevin and I and Ivan, we have a few things in common, and this is real. And in doing my research, I found out that Governor Bevin had lost a daughter, Brittany, at 17 years old. I lost my firstborn son, Dustin, to leukemia. He died in my arms at 7 years old. It's a place I didn't handle it well. And Governor Bevin and his wife founded a charity called Brittany's Wish. And what it does is, their mission is to send high school students on missionary trips. And the reason I bring this up is when my son died, I didn't handle it well, Governor. I blame God. I stayed in a dark place for quite a while. And it was until God came back in my life, I was able to honor my son. I'm happy for my son, and I'll see him again. And I hate to throw this on you because I know it's something that's not easy for me to this day to talk about. First of all, I want to commend you on what you do to honor your daughter. And honor God while honoring your daughter. I mean that from my heart.
Thank you.
You're a really good man, obviously. If you could just tell us about the charity,
Sure.
tell our country about the charity,
Sure.
tell them how they could contribute. If you have the heart of Governor Bevin, we're gonna give you an avenue to help high school students go on missionary trips through Brittany's Wish. Governor, if you would.
Sure, I appreciate it. It is hard, and I wouldn't wish for any of the three of us to be a part of that group. It's to bury your own child is not the natural order of things. It just isn't, and it never gets old. And I will say this, digressing for a second, to those of you who ever wrestle with a family member, a friend, somebody who's lost a child, and you don't know what to say, I will just tell you right now, there's nothing you can say. That's the fact. That's a straight up reality. There's no right word to say. There's nothing that is possible to say that will ever make a person feel better or feel whole. The one thing I would recommend to people is people worry about, well, then maybe I should say nothing. Don't do that. Because the reality is you're not going to remind people that they lost a child. They know they lost a child. And not talking about it and creating an awkward gap, or maybe not even interfacing with people, makes it very difficult when people are going through hard times. People need to be around people. People need to put their arms around their shoulder. People need to just sit there and listen to them, cry with them, just be there, whatever hour of the day or night. It makes all the difference in the world. You know that. It really does. And this organization, Brittany had a heart. She wanted to be a missionary. She just wanted to serve, women and children in particular. And she had taken a couple of short-term mission trips. I had taken her to India for the first time outside of the country. She'd wanted to go somewhere. And so I took her to a place that was not easy, and it was not comfortable. And she loved it. She thrived on it. And it just affirmed in her mind that this is what she wanted to do. And then she was a junior in high school. So that summer, she used monies that she had been saving for years and earned some extra money from neighbors doing odd jobs, and went to Romania between her junior and senior year to work in orphanages there. And when she came back, she just said, this is what I want to do with my life. And she was so excited about serving other people. And then just 6 weeks after she came back from Romania, she was killed in a car accident on her way home from school. And it was for a father, for a parent, it's just and you know that. I mean, there's nothing that prepares you for this. And it was heartbreaking. And for a long time, we also were just, you can't process it easily. There's no preparation for it. You never even think about it. Never in my mind had I thought about this possibility. But one of the things that we've done to try to honor her heart, her passion, her legacy, is to start this organization called Brittany's Wish. And it's bwish.org. And actually it's interesting because this will give me incentive I need to upgrade the website a bit. It's a little antiquated right now. But bwish, BWISH.org. Her name was Brittany Wish, was her middle name. So it's a play on her name, and this is Brittany's Wish because it was her wish to serve other people this way.
That's absolutely.
And so it's a 501c3, so people can make, if they were so inclined, I'd be grateful if people wanted to contribute. 100% of the money, 100%. There's zero money that comes out for administrative purposes because my wife and I do that just out of our love. And we will process 100% of those, go straight out to young people who want to go on short-term mission trips. And they don't have to be to some exotic place. They could be somewhere in this country, but it just has a few basic stipulations. Needs to be, children between the ages of 15 and 20, young adults really, between the ages of 15 and 20, in something that's structured, where it's not just them doing their own thing, but with a group, maybe with a chaperone, whatever the case might be. The few simple stipulations are spelled out. But in other words, they're there simply to make sure that these go to the right places. And the powerful return on these has been amazing. It's been a small charity. It's something we've done really ourselves. This is the first time I've ever talked with anybody about broadening it out.
Do you mind me asking how many students you've sent?
There have been dozens at this point. The exact number, I really have to go back and look. But it's small. I mean, the reality is it could become hundreds or thousands.
After this interview,
if we ever scale it up.
A dozen more.
Good. I love it.
Everyone, please go to bwish.org. Make a donation. And to me, I did the same. I started a charity that helped cops, firemen, and military personnel with critically ill children. I knew nothing about a charity. But when you serve, like you're serving, continue to serve. The blessing is in doing the deed.
Yeah.
Knowing wow, you're able to send a high school student to do a missionary trip.
Yeah.
To me, I consider myself a man of God. So to me, there's no better mission than what this charity does, you know? And there's a healing that comes along with it. Is that correct?
There is. And I think, too, I mean, many of your viewers, I'm sure, are people of faith as well. You understand this, the parable of the sower. Our responsibility is to sow the seed. We're not, our job isn't necessarily to cultivate every single thing every single day, but to sow the seed on rocky soil, fertile soil, and everything in between. And that's what this does. This gives an opportunity not only to sow seed into the lives of young people, because never in your life are you more self-absorbed. Everybody, every human being in every culture everywhere is probably more self-absorbed between the ages of 15 and 20, just naturally, as they ever have been. And that's just the nature of things. And so this takes a young person at a time when they're most likely to be self-absorbed, allowing them the opportunity and the encouragement and the support to be able to pour into somebody else's life. And to do this in a way that will transform their life and the lives of the people they touch by sowing seed. And when those seeds germinate, how they germinate, over what period of time, God takes care of that. I'm confident in it. And so I again, I appreciate your heart. I appreciate you bringing this up. And you know, Brittany, this was her passion. And for this ripple effect to be able to go on is a powerful thing.
You know, we're hoping that our viewers get to know Governor Bevin, the man, the father. I believe that we've touched a little bit about that. I'm going to end it with this. We were at the Kentucky Derby the other day, and we spoke with a lot of people there, and we interviewed quite a few. And there's a feeling in the air, like a revival, God, family, country, patriotism. And I'd ask these people at the Kentucky Derby, do you feel like this current administration had something to do with it? Overwhelmingly. It was. It's the leadership. It's, you know, getting to speak to a governor and he's talking about mission trips. There's no demonization of that. You know, this is what our country was founded on. God, family, country. You know, and I'd like to ask you, do you feel that this current administration has something to do?
Every millennial, I would tell every person in America, be bold, be unapologetic about what you know to be true. Know what you know. Be an apologist for what you know. Not everybody's going to believe or know the same things, but know what you know, be able to articulate it, and be bold and unapologetic. And so to your question, yes, because I think people are realizing, you know, we owe it to ourselves, to our children, to the heritage that we've inherited, to the sacrifice that others have laid down. You think about this, 1.5 million men and women have laid down their lives in uniform since this nation was founded. 1.5 million people have died in uniform. People that we served with. You know, I have guys I served with whose kids have grown up without a dad. We better honor and respect and value that. And I think now it is being, you know, encouraged for people to be bold. And this is what I tell people. And again, back to those that would consider serving in public office, while you may answer to the ballot box, while you may do things that you hope would incur the favor of voters, the thing that I know as surely as we sit here is someday I'm going to stand before my Creator. And I'm more interested in what I hear on that day. I'm more interested in the turnout of things on that day than I am on what happens at any ballot box anywhere. And I think that's for me personally. Not everybody shares my view on things. But I would say this. I know it to be true. From the things we talked about, the things that I've suffered, the things that I've lost, when people talk about faith being this ethereal thing that you can't touch, you're not sure what it is exactly. Trust me, when you have nothing but it, when nothing is left in your life but that, it is the most tangible, solid thing you could even imagine. And this is why I am as confident as I am in what I say. And some like it, some don't like it, some are offended by it, but I'm unapologetic. And I encourage young people, be bold, because America needs bold leadership, period. We have it, we're getting it, like we haven't had it in a long time, at the federal level on down, and I'm personally grateful as an American.
Well, we're going to wrap on that note, Governor Bevin. It was a great message. Like I said earlier, Governor Bevin, you're a good egg. That's my saying.
Thank
you are one good egg. Be bold.
Be bold.
Okay, Governor Bevin, we're going to say goodbye. I do hugs. I hope you don't mind.
Don't mind at all, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Governor Bevin.
Thank you.
You're a gentleman.
I'll give you a hug after.
Thank you.
Bevin with Serving Those podcast. I want to sincerely apologize for being sick and not making the meeting with the governor. I want to appreciate everyone who is watching our podcast, and most importantly, the great state of Kentucky. Did you know Abraham Lincoln was born in Kentucky, one of the greatest presidents to ever serve? Did you know sticky notes were made in Kentucky? Did you know the Happy Birthday song was originated in Kentucky? Kentucky has a long history of great people, and we thank you for watching Serving Those podcast.